Good afternoon and welcome to Social Educational Project School of IT Professionals ProfIT. Today we are going to talk about very interesting, for me actually, topic about growth marketing. We are going to talk with founder of Growth Shop, Mark Patchett. Hello, Mark.
Hello, guys.
For your time, I wouldn't steal your time anymore, and the floor is yours.
Right on. Привет, как дела, everybody? Good to be here, and I'm very, very excited to be presenting to a group of people who seem like they're doing some really, really impressive things. So I can only see, who have I got? I've got Sergey's face here, who heads up our PR in Ukraine. So Sergey's going to have to give me lots of good positive feedback so I know what I'm saying is actually interesting to you guys. And I'm not sure, I don't think I get a line back from you guys, but I'm super flexible with questions. If what I'm saying is not interesting, tell me to shut up and I'll talk about some other shit. I got plenty of stuff and I could talk about this all night long. So yeah, stop me at any time. Let's make it work. So let's hit it. Bang, bang, bang. Cool. First, a little bit of background, which is always useful. If you're going to be listening to somebody, it's good to know what they've been up to. That's me right there. So my background. So I've been in the growth marketing phase for over a decade now. I'm originally from Sydney, Australia. I moved over, I've lived a few different spots, Amsterdam and Boston, but then I spent the last 6 years in London. And the main reason I went there is that life is too good in Australia. It's not very motivating to be in business or to make money because there's no point because you've got beaches and beers. So I moved somewhere where the weather was really shitty so that I'd be motivated to make lots of success so that I could move back somewhere that was sunny. I've had a few different successes. I've been marketing director of some fast growth startups in London and worked with companies like the BBC and Channel 4, load of different stuff. But the things I'm going to talk to you today are more about fast growth direct to consumer e-commerce companies. Here we go. So firstly, if you want to get in touch, I'm always happy to share ideas, to talk to anybody. You can find me on LinkedIn, Mark Patchett here. There's two. This guy is a Mark Patchett. He's based in New Zealand and he's in agriculture and farming. I don't think he's going to tell you anything very interesting about growth marketing, but maybe about sheep. So if you decide to leave development and move into farming, talk to this guy, don't talk to me. Here we go. So our team, so the backbone of Growth Shop and the part that I'm most proud of is our family. So we started with 2 people last January in 2020. That was us here. And now we've got over about 35 people. And the team is based in London. We've got an office. We've got an office here in Kiev. And then we also have a new office in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. There's about a 75-person office there, but we've only got one person, which is Greg, because of COVID. So he's very lonely. So if you're ever in Vietnam and you want some space to work from, hit me up and you're welcome to use the office. Our values. So before we talk about growth marketing, I really want to share the values behind why we actually do what we do, because it's a little bit different. So the mission that we have at Growth Shop all wraps into these 3 different values, which is smarter, faster, and happier. And what this means is how can you build amazing companies while everybody within the organization can confidently say it's the best job they've ever had. And the real ethos behind it is that when you've got the right people working on the right projects, you don't have to work towards this goal where maybe you'll be happy in 5 years if the company exits. I think it's bullshit. I think what's much more exciting is having your cake and eating it too, which means smarter. So how do you build these types of companies where the company can be profitable and successful, but you respect everybody within the company and you do loads of fun shit and you treat each other as you'd want to be treated? And what I'm excited to show you today is that we've actually validated that. So the numbers speak 1,000 words. So we launched our first portfolio last January. We acquired a small direct-to-consumer homewares company and we blew it up. So within 4 months, we took it from doing just under 200,000 a month to up to 1.8. And then in another few months, we took that one brand up to $4.5 million a month. And that was with only $600,000 investment. And all of that is with the team that give us amazing feedback, 5-star reviews on Glassdoor saying that they're having an amazing time doing it. So this was a really proud moment to validate that you can build a business very, very quickly while people enjoy doing what they do. So building the beast. So this is the ecosystem, the growth ecosystem. The main part of being able to grow things quickly while everyone's enjoying it all comes down to this context of unfair advantage. Now, this is a nerdy looking model, and I made it a little bit confusing and nerdy because it makes me feel special and important. But what it essentially says is that we will never ever launch a business, or we'll never try and scale a business unless we have a distinct competitive advantage in at least two of these different areas. And this is what I don't think a lot of people think about when they're trying to build a startup. Someone may have had an idea and they say, hey, here's our idea. You build it, you develop it. And then when it doesn't work in market, they blame the developing team, they blame the marketing team. But really the reason it didn't work is because it was a shit idea. So what this model helps do is it helps create the framework and structure for an organization, which means that it's actually easy to win. I always thought brilliant marketing meant being able to sell a six-fingered glove. What I didn't realize was that it was much easier to do the following. So firstly, offer economics says, what are you selling? What's your type of product? What are you buying that product for? What's your cost of goods? And then that then informs what your offer tolerance is. So how competitive can you be in the market? So for example, if I want to go to market and my competitor is selling his product for 100 and my cost of goods is $80, I'm done. I'm not going to win there. But if my competitor is selling his product for 100 and the amount that I'm paying for it, I can sell it at 70, I can start beating him. That becomes really interesting. If I don't have that immediate structure, it's not going to work. We then look at areas like exposure efficiency. So this says how many people are actually searching for my product actively. We don't care about active intent. Active intent means that people are price competitive. It means that they're looking for the best offer. What we want is latent intent. So what latent intent says is how many people would be interested in buying my product. They just might not know that it exists yet. The reason this is interesting is this is a much bigger market, and it means you can build a brand, and it means you can build a product that has different types of competitive advantage around it. You can really, really scale it. So I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but if anyone's interested in finding out more money, money's on my mind. Finding out more information about the methodology, hit me up on LinkedIn and I'll share the model and I'll share a bit of a breakdown, as this is the backbone of what's allowed us to really scale these businesses very, very quickly. Any questions? I don't know if this is making sense for overcomplicating things, but this is the most nerdy academic piece of this presentation anyway. Nothing? Keep kicking. All right. So one of the really, 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 really key parts about how we build our business is a multi-brand approach. So we have one team, but at the moment we have 5 different brands. And this is why we do it. So we hire a specific type of person. So I'm very entrepreneurial. I'm a bit crazy. I like to learn a lot about a lot. Psychology, storytelling, data, research. But then there's, I guess, an area of depth where I'm quite good. And that for me initially was writing copy and creating ads. That was a strength. I could understand data, but I couldn't sit there and go into like a deep data hole. So you know how there's someone, say, if you've got a broken piece of code, they're going to find it. You know, you'd give it to that guy, girl, they're going to focus and they're going to find it. That's not really my strength. So what we do in the company is that we only hire people that are good at multiple different things. And there's a very specific reason we do that. So an example would be Kat. Kat is in our team. She's from the London office. So Kat has skills in email marketing. She has skills in messaging, review collection, referral programs. Kat actually built our entire offshore customer service team. The reason this is important is with a normal organization that may have one brand, they'd hire an email marketing person. Let's say they cost $20,000. What happens when they've got all those initial wins? Those initial wins may be the bulk of the performance, 80-20. After that, you still have to pay a full-time salary. It gets really expensive. But what we do, instead, once Kat's finished getting all the easy 80-20 wins with email marketing, she then shifts to messaging. She then shifts to review collection. She then shifts to referral programs. So the benefit with this is you bypass the point of diminishing returns. So you're always getting maximum value out of everybody in your team. The other benefit for the person in the team is that they're far, far, far more engaged, as they're always faced with very challenging types of people in our company that need hard work, that want to be challenged every single day. So the benefit here with a multi-brand approach is also that Kat may get all the email marketing wins for the first brand. She can then jump onto the second brand, third brand, fourth brand, fifth brand. So you have this multi-dimensional ability to extract maximum value while keeping people that are A players that need to be challenged, constantly challenged. Big one for us here. The outcome here is that our competitors often, the cost of the operations is often 20 to 25% of their revenue. We're able to have the best people in the market, and it only costs about 5% of our operations. Huge impact. Imagine what you can do with that extra 15%. You can be more competitive with your offers. You can have more profit. You can invest in technology. Huge. Big, big, big. So what does it look like? So we also focus a lot on process and blueprints. So a normal type of competitor may have 2 emails. What we build out are these blueprints that then allow us to scale out across multiple brands. And every single time we do it faster. So here in this instance, we look at our traffic, which is Facebook, affiliates, AdWords. We look at the traffic flows about where we send them. We then put them on these multiple flows, which go across multi-touch emails, things like SMS, different pop-up promos. This is about 25% of what our actual blueprint looks like. But the best thing is that when you think about process and you think about blueprints, you can acquire a brand or you can start a brand, and you can have someone newer execute off your blueprint, even if they're not as experienced, and they can learn really quickly because you've already mapped out how it looks. So for a normal brand, it can take them a year to build out this. We can buy or launch a new brand and we can deploy this in a week. When you multiply that out across multiple brands, multiple opportunities, it's really, really hard to beat. Big, big impact. Cool. So the next bit, I wanted to give a bit of an example, and I'm actually blasting through this really quickly. So we'll have time for questions, or maybe we'll just wrap up in about half an hour, whatever you guys want. But this is an example of taking really smart people and then being very, very scrappy. So we had an interesting challenge. So one of the companies where I was VP of growth for, it was a company called Nectar Sleep, direct-to-consumer mattress brand. And we clocked a very nice accolade. So in the US, the most highly regarded growth metric is the Internet Retailers Report. So if you see these different fastest growing startup awards, usually they're a load of bullshit, because you may be a brand that started with 2 sales and then you took them to 100. That growth rate's very impressive. In order to get on this ranking metric, you have to be top 1,000 by revenue already in America. So if you've got this growth rate, it means that you were already very large. So we were the fastest growing company in all of North America in 2018 by a long shot, 525%, fast growth. What we were faced with is a challenge when we entered that market. We went against Casper. So Casper had raised $340 million. We had 10, but we wanted to be bigger. How do you do it? You need to be really scrappy. You need to be very creative, and you need to do things very, very differently. So what do companies do when they've raised shitloads of money like this, 340 million? They spaff it and spend it on really stupid shit. So what Casper did is, if you were in New York City, every single piece of outdoor or billboard or interior subway ads was owned by Casper. They bought everything. It's an interesting approach, but it's quite challenging because people only buy a new bed once every 10 years. It's not like you're buying a burger. And anytime I see a McDonald's ad on the subway or something, I get convinced, but not going to necessarily buy a bed. So what they were doing is they were taking a marketing strategy, which is called brand equity versus active intent. So brand equity means whether you're going to buy a bed now or in 2 years, I want you to think of my brand, Casper. Active intent means when you're ready to buy a bed, I want you to see my ad. Big difference in strategy. Very, very big in terms of cost and in terms of performance. We knew we couldn't do brand equity. Brand equity is like a Super Bowl ad. We had to go for the low-hanging fruit, which meant people that were actively searching for the product. So here we go. So how do you target these types of buyers? Channel selection and targeting. Even going to go, if we can't go for outdoor, we're not going to go on Super Bowl. That meant we had to go for Facebook and AdWords. The second thing was to be very, very specific about the types of messages we were going to say. We weren't going to go for brandy, lovey-dovey types of messages. We were going to say stuff that was, you want a bed, we got the best bed, we got the best deals, buy our stuff. That active intent, so that active type of message, means that only people that are interested in the type of product are going to look for it. Huge difference. Huge difference. So we knew that we had to go for channels that were highly, I was going to say polluted. They were entirely packed with people that were ready to buy the product. That was ticked. We knew that we needed to have a very specific type of message, but what we didn't know was the type of message that we needed to say. So I remembered something that I conveniently learned in university, one of the very few things that seemed to be relevant, and it was the SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. But what we needed to do is we needed to reapply it to try and find out the messaging. So normally a SWOT analysis is used as a strategic piece to understand how to launch new products, which markets to go into, whether to invest in research and technology or infrastructure. We only wanted to use this, but to learn more about the messaging of our product. So what did we do? We started looking where people already told us the answers. We didn't have enough money for a big research firm, no chance. These ones in New York cost 50, 100, 200,000. We wanted to spend hundreds of dollars, that's it. Reviews. Reviews are the goldmine of the internet. As people tell you exactly what they like, and they tell you exactly what they don't like. You don't need to hire these research firms. All you need to do is get these types of answers from customers. So what do we do? This is a great trick. I use this a lot. So the first thing you do is you identify your top 3 competitors. You then go to their website and you scrape all of their reviews. But you also need to use offsite reliable sources. As you may not believe it, but people sometimes curate the reviews they have on their website and don't always show the bad ones. So you need to go to websites like Amazon, Trustpilot, Better Business Bureau. So what you do is you then scrape all of your own reviews. You start grouping them into themes to narrow down the core items. Are people loving the quality of the product, but there were long shipping delays? Do they love the customer service that they talk to, or do they hate it? Do they love certain features? The people tell you, and you'll start seeing after you go through 10, 15, 20, very, very common themes. You then run a frequency count. So of 1,000 reviews, how many people talked about customer service? How many people talked about feature A, B, C? You then look for patterns. So if people love the quality of your product or the comfort, but then they hate it for a competitor, you know you've got an advantage. If one of your competitors has terrible customer service, but you have good customer service, you have a piece of messaging that you can roll with. So then you form your prioritized messaging points using this methodology. This is what it looks like. So we'd have these nice color codings that allowed us to find patterns very, very clearly about what people loved about us, but hated about our competitors. So now we knew what we needed to talk about. We then looked at our budget to produce these ads. We didn't have 340 million. So it was going to be user-generated content versus Don Draper. We couldn't pay this guy's salary. He drinks way too much scotch. We're not going to pay for that. So we're going to hang out with this lady here who loves going to the park and taking photos of herself. We can call her Megan. So this is what Casper was running. Oh, that'll work. Have a look at this. And when you're looking at this, think about what it makes you feel like doing after you watch this ad. Kittens, little porcupines, we got goats, we got puppies, we got bunnies, more kitties. So what this looks like is really cute little animals. What it's really doing is manipulating the human psyche to try and suck us in so that we focus very closely on this ad. What you may notice is it doesn't say shit about, it doesn't say shit about the product. It doesn't say, if you want to bed, keep watching this. It doesn't do anything like that. So you may have watched this for 60 seconds or 30 seconds or 15 seconds and been entertained. No, that you do actually buy a product. Casper wonders why they spent all their money very quickly and didn't get many sales. So remember, always, always, always go for action over engagement. Engagement metrics are bullshit if they don't follow with action, always. So then look at this one. This is the ad that we produced. So what you can see here, our promise, the best sleep of your life. At Nectar, we are so confident that you'll have the best sleep of your life that we're offering you a 365-night trial to find out. 100% risk-free. There's a big bit here. We're the only company confident enough to offer this for a reason. Find out more. We have quotes, we have touching and feeling the bed, we have people experiencing it, and these are real people. Sinks in, they're describing what the emotion feels like, they're showing what it's like to get the product delivered. It really is magic. Within 2 days, I felt a good 10 years younger. Experience, outcome. 45 million views. That's, I think, the population of Ukraine. All watching my silly, silly mattress ad. So there we go. Let's get rid of that. Let me come back here. So then who's going to watch that? Who's going to sit through 60 seconds or whatever it is of a bloody mattress ad? The only people that are going to do that are people that are interested in buying your product. And that's what we want. Because the way that the Facebook algorithm works is it finds more people that are engaging with your content. So when you're spending money on Casper's ad, everybody likes looking at cute animals. And if they don't, they should be checked by a doctor. But the only people that are going to watch the mattress ad are people interested in buying a bloody mattress. That one ad cost us $300 to produce, and it did over $10 million in sales. Crazy. They're the types of things that you should always be thinking about when you think about growth. Growth isn't just about learning how to be good at Facebook. Growth is considering how everybody does Facebook or AdWords and do it differently. And one of the reasons we love working with developers and people that are technical is you guys like breaking stuff and girls, and you like building it back better, not like Joe Biden, build back better. Ignore that. We're building useful things. And creating smarter ways of doing things. So it's great to be able to share our journey and how we have taken a bit of an unconventional approach to grow these different types of businesses, as I think there's a good fit. And people with a technical type of mind are always welcome, and we always love talking to people like you to work out better ways of doing things. That is all I had for today. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, or should I? Yeah, let's hit that. There we go. Cool.
Nice. Thank you very much. Just a second. Okay. First, I want to thank you. Second thing, I want to say that you can leave your questions and comments, and start with my questions. So, what is on the first place in growth marketing? The product, the technologies of marketing, I mean, like Facebook or AdWords, or the creativity?
It's always what you're offering. It's the offer. And the offer isn't just a product. The offer encompasses, like that model I was showing before, it's what are you selling and what are you selling it for? And who are you selling it to? That's always essential, because if you work that out, and it's essentially product market fit times product offer market fit. So it's knowing that there's a real need, and it's knowing that the value that you're bringing, fixing that problem, is worth XYZ to someone. So if you validate that, that means you've got something that's worth investing in. And the way you can validate that, just talk to people, go to Facebook groups, go to Slack groups, create a very, very basic MVP. And then you can start with saying, if I could reduce your site load by 25%, what would it be worth to your e-commerce website? Is this something you pay $1,000 a month for? As if you're doing already 10 million, I know you could pay me $10,000 a month. And it's just to talk to people. So I think creating an MVP and then thinking about the offer as well, and then thinking about the cost to produce that. That's always where I'd start.
Okay, and how important is to be honest with customer? How does this affect growth? For example, I see that you are wearing the same like sweater as at your photo and poster. So we are selling the same picture.
Well, it's because, side note there. So I've kind of lived and traveled around the world a lot for I don't know, since last 10 years. So I have like 2 jumpers. And then at every new city I move to, I buy new black t-shirts and new socks and new underpants. So you'll probably, there's a 50-50 chance you'll see me wearing this every time you see me. But how important is it to be honest to customers? Very, very important. So you could get away with it. You could get away with it even 3 years ago. Because if you're selling something, it depends. Actually, no, let me preface it like this. If you're selling a one-off product, people buy it, they either like it or not, you can get away with it, or you used to be able to. But if you've got repeat business, and most people, if you're in technology on this call, you're going to be building things that usually have recurring revenue. If you're not honest with people, people are going to call bullshit and they're going to leave. And one of the most powerful things to build a business is 2. It's word of mouth for building top of funnel, and then it's repeat business to build your lifetime value. If you're dishonest with people, you're going to get burned. And Facebook has now improved their sophistication of catching you out. So what Facebook will do is anyone that's converted or purchased something, for example, with e-commerce, Facebook will send an anonymous survey to people on Facebook to say, how was your purchased experience? And if they get enough negative responses, they will increase your ad costs, in some cases by 50 to 80%. And then the extreme case is if you lie enough and customers say, this guy's a dipshit, he's lying to me, they ban your account. I've known of business accounts from China that spend 100 million and they got shut down. No chance of getting back. So yeah, very important to be honest.
Okay, and what about niche? Should you concentrate on one niche, or you should be flexible to maybe go to another one?
It depends what you want out of it. For me, I don't care what I sell. As long as I'm creating value for people, I'm agnostic. So we're selling women's jewelries, we're selling beds, we're selling homewares. I don't mind. I had a business that sold colostomy bags. You know, the bags you have when it's like medical supplies. I don't mind, as long as I'm helping people and I can create a good experience. And I think you need to ask yourself the question, really, are you doing this because you love to build things and you love to scale things, which I do? Or are you quite passionate about a type of product and you'd like to do it for fun? If you do, if you are passionate about it, I would encourage you to read a book called The E-Myth. And what the E-Myth talks about is that the worst owner is usually the person that's very passionate about the product, which is a counterintuitive way to think about it. And the reason is you create a job. If you're very passionate about your product, you become a perfectionist. So the example they gave is if you were a baker and you love to bake bread and you create a bakery, you're going to have to be there baking all that bread because you're the best baker. It's very hard to hire someone and let them do their job because you're a perfectionist. When you don't give a shit about baking bread, but you love to create bakeries and you love to create the brand, you can then step out and you've created a business, not a job. So I think I'd ask yourself those questions and read that book as well. It's a good book.
Okay, and what about self-branding? If you like to make bakers, how it will affect your business if you are talking about it? So you are like showing your face.
Yeah, I think you can really leverage it. And it depends. So for me, I'm really passionate about talking about growth marketing, but I've been executing growth. I started managing Google ads. I used to write all the copy. I used to do all the day. I used to do everything. But I like to have new challenges. So for me, what I like to do now is I like to talk to business owners and I like to talk about growth marketing. So in my instance, I'm doing my dream job now, talking about this stuff. And then it in turn helps the business. So where I think it can be dangerous, very, very dangerous, is if your clients, if you're saying an agency, expect to work with you. So there's a lot of companies that I talk to, and the face, or she has to be on all the client calls because they say, you're the famous person, we only want to work with you. So someone that does a very good Vaynerchuk, where he's the face of VaynerMedia, Vayner everything, but he doesn't do any of the client work. So I think you need to be careful and honest with how you position it to the people you're talking to and what your role is within the organization.
And you also said that you should analyze feedback in your clients, yes?
Yeah.
How automative could it be? Like, should you analyze it personally, or maybe you can use some techniques or some artificial intelligence?
Yeah, there's the exciting stuff. So it really comes down to the volume of data you've got. So for the purposes of trying to work out a marketing message, my strong advice is always to start doing it manually. Read 250 reviews, every single one. You'll learn more about a client's business than the client knows themselves if you read 250. The way we actually tried to run AI on it, and we did it with 2,500 reviews, and there still wasn't enough input. So if you're doing it for a large scale blast, I would manually try and find out what the categories are and the themes. Then as soon as I've got them, I would use something scalable like artificial intelligence to try and find the patterns across, say, 250,000 reviews. That could work, but I'd always start manually.
Okay, and I also read that the first impact you make on your client is the most valuable. Is it true, or you should like remind about yourself every day? People should see your advertisement like every day in their Facebook.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So there's a lot out there that says the first touch can win. So it could mean that even if you're retargeting, that someone has a bias, which is the first company that had exposure, that they had a positive experience with, then attracts a higher propensity for that person to then buy from them. It's very hard to say whether it's true, because if my competitor has a good experience, I can beat probably most of my competitors with creative and copy. So then it depends what type of message you're repeating with them. And it also depends on the type of product. If you're selling $1,000 product, someone may want to consider over a month before they make the purchase. But if you're selling a gizmo, which costs $10, if you're not converting them on that first experience, you can't actually afford to keep showing them ads. So it depends on the product price point. It depends how sophisticated your competitors are as well. But I would always instead focus on this. If someone only saw my ad one time, what's the one message that I'd want them to remember? I'd focus on that, because you don't know whether you're going to be able to get your ads in front of them again or whether it's going to be profitable.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any questions. Sergey,
No worries.
to talk about something?
So nice. Actually, I can add some comments to Mark's speech. So it's, as Mark said before, it's very important to speak with your customers, because your customers and the feedback can give you more ideas or more something you can make better. And it also, I have an experience with the offline brand when top managers become the part of the team offline for a day, and then can feel better the customer. So they can feel the problems, can find the solution during the working day. And it also helps company, because mostly everybody thinks that the top managers sitting in the office make a decision, meetings, or something like that. But it's very important, any business, online, offline, e-commerce, to get the feedback. And Another back of the speaking with the customer. So if you have a negative feedback, you always can return your customer, because if the customer will feel that owner of the business or the customer service like to solve his or her problem, it also will help, and that will be a customer in the future.
Mark, was it correct?
Yeah, spot on. Spot on. We do a lot of recovery, angry customer recovery as well. When you're building these things really quickly, one of the negative byproducts is that sometimes things like logistics or shipping go wrong, and in some cases badly wrong. We had one instance where our Chinese manufacturer only shipped 18% of the product they promised via ocean, and we'd already sold 100%. So then we were faced with this tsunami of sewage of people canceling, refunding, saying these guys are liars. And it was, it's on us at the end of the day, even though that Chinese manufacturer did it. So then we had to work out how to appease all of these people, Amazon vouchers, alternative products, very patient and understanding customer service people. But then when you respect your customer and you're honest with your customer, often people just want to be treated like they want to be treated. So they could say, you know what, I understand, shit happens. I really respect you being honest with me. I'm not going to leave a bad review. Just please give me my refund. Or other people, we could say, we'll give you a 30% discount if you're happy to wait a month. Some people are happy. So you can always recover these types of angry people. Just need to be honest, and you just need to be respectful. You can recover those lost sales.
Good. And last thing, could you recommend?
I would like to say another.
Yeah, Sergey.
On the buzzer.
Yeah, I would like to say one more important thing, that it's very normal when the company not always the growth, like something like that. When if you will have some fails, you need to analyze it and to find the solution why that was in that case, and how can you make it better, or how can you find the solution to make it grow. So no problem if there's some months or sometime the growth fall down. It's better to find the solution and find the way out.
And expect that. Expect it. Everyone always wants this graph that does this, but it doesn't work that way. And you'll get a false sense of hope when it goes like this. But when it goes like that, it's going to bounce and it's going to come back down. And the true character you see of your team is remaining composed, strategic when things are slowing down, and not making rash decisions. You've probably experienced, anyone that's working in technology, when sales are down, often they'll be like, something's broken, tech's fucked, there's a bug, there's deluge, but often there isn't. Often people are unpredictable. The market's unpredictable. I'm guilty of this too. I'm like, man, what's going on? So it's remaining calm in these phases and working together as a team. And even if something does break, it's okay. And people need to respect that. People need to know that things break when you move fast, and it's okay.
Good. And can you recommend something where to learn?
Where to learn? Yeah, a really good resource. We have a website, Ecom Academy, which we're building out, ecomacademy.com. There's some good things about theory on that. It's all about how to double your business without spending any extra money, about lifetime value, conversion rate. Check that out. Then cxl.com is really good. I learned a lot of my stuff from there. They've got good mastery courses. So I check those two out as a good starting point. And also be very, 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 very careful who you learn from. Only learn from people. I always research their LinkedIns when I used to learn. I would look at their interviews, because it's very easy to copy and paste content from other blogs and then to say it's great content. Even people that write books. It's easy when someone writes a book, you think they're smart. Check the shit they've done. Are you just a university professor that's never built a business and you only recommend stuff in a boardroom? I'll read your shit, but I'm not going to take it for gospel. So challenge absolutely everything you read, including the stuff that I've written, even though my stuff works, but still challenge it. So yeah, I check out those two websites.
Okay, thank you. And I know that you're open for interns. Yeah, you can speak out about this.
Open for what, bro? Oh, for interns. Yeah. So one of the big bits to get competitive advantage is that we want to build things that haven't been built. We want people to work directly across our entire organization with the growth marketers, with the people managing paid ads, with the data team, with the development team. We want to build cool shit that gives us a competitive advantage. So if you like building cool stuff and you're smart and you're hungry and you're entrepreneurial and you want to work on some cool projects, hit up Sergey or hit me up on LinkedIn. But yeah, we're open to interns for sure.
Great, thanks a lot for your time. Thank you for interesting content, and thank you to our audience for being here with us today. And
Right on.
bye.
Спасибо. До свидания.